Welcome to a new video from Tropiclord. We've got a real treat here today. I'm in my mum's garden. Now, this garden is an absolute pick and mix of tropical delight. It is beautiful. There's something to look at every turn. My personal favourite area of the garden is this one here. What a fabulous display going up the steps. So many spikes, so many different shades and colours. It's bursting with life and looking radiant still in October. Ideally, I would have done this video much earlier in the season, perhaps when we've got a bit of sun and a bit of blue sky to back these beautiful green plants. But really, when you've got evergreen plants and so much variety, it's never a bad time really to have a look at what's going on. It was originally a bog standard rectangle envelope of lawn with straight borders down both sides. What we did to create some interest was turn the lawn into a bit of an S shape, and what happens is you've got to walk around each of the bends to see what's going on. Now, you can't see what's behind each of those bends when you're standing at the end of the garden, and that's what we wanted, and that's what gave my mum some zones so she can actually explore as she goes around the corner. Each bend brings new plants, new experiences, and for landscaping, that's exactly what you want, to build in interest, even when you've only got a small patch of land, which this is. Oh my word, where do you begin with this lot? Let's have a look over here. We've got a Camarops there in a pot, growing well, multi-headed as well. Doing okay in that pot. A flowering Fatsia japonica behind. They do flower quite late in the season. This is a brilliant specimen. The leaves are a bit smaller than the leaves on mine. I think that's because my mum's garden gets a lot of sun. The trunks looking great there. She could even skin them up a little bit more. And that's the thing with my mum's garden. If you bend down and look at the lower level, there's so much going on at the bottom because she's underplanted and infilled. Then you stand and see another set of plants and leaves and foliage. Got red robin repeated throughout the garden to give us some colour. How can I not give this the respect that it demands? This is a tetrapanax. Now, I bought this one for Mum, and you can imagine how I was kicking myself when we realised this is actually a steroidal giant. It is huge. These leaves look otherworldly. Look at that in the middle there. The trunk is so strong, pushing out more leaves at the top. If I can film underneath this, mammoth. I mean, look at it. It's just gorgeous. It's a real showstopper. Each year it gets taller and taller. It's got a lovely trunk that's formed underneath there, but Mum's getting a real canopy out of that one. So in this border there's repeated plants which ties the garden together. Another Fatsia here, more red robin at the back. What else have we got there? I think a little Camarops in there, or Cobra japonica, the yellow speckled leaves there. We've got a yucca, variegated yucca gloriosa, I think. I went with her to get that one. Some cottage style evergreen shrubs, euonymus that is. Got some hot lips in there as well for colour, and another massive fatsia. There seems to be no stopping that one. Look at the length of that one and depth. We have some miscanthus at the back. As you can see, it's walking its way along the border. That hasn't been planted with any sort of barrier, so it is making its way around. It even made it into next door's garden. So if you are planting that one, you're going to want some sort of barrier, or perhaps even in a container, just to keep it from running around. Mum has had to cut some out of the lawn as well. We have a banana here. I believe this to be a Musa sycamensis. It's growing in a pot, and like myself, Mum will usually plant annuals around her plants. Oh, what is this one called again? I want to say Zebrina because of the striped leaves that are on it, and the Zebrina grass. I will put the right name on the screen. Mum does like an acer, so she's dotted those around. Also brilliant for colour and for filling in gaps. And that's a buddleia there. We have a canna that's seen better days, but hanging in there in a pot. Another tetrapanax. Very much at home there. Alocasia macrorrhiza in a pot. Again, it's in full sun here, and that may well account for the slower growth that this has had, and the smaller leaves than the one that I have in my garden, which is much more shaded. Now to my favourite area of the garden, this array of spikes, the Yucca rostrata, which is doing amazingly in that pot. A Charlie boy there in a pot. Hostas, which have stayed relatively slug free. I'm not sure what this beauty is, I'm afraid, but how interesting are those leaves? This for me is a standout. And what is it? Just a grass, just a Carex grass. But look at the length of those leaves, the way they arch and bend over, and how beautiful that looks next to the yucca and the cordlin there. We have a baby Dixonia antarctica. I think we've got a couple there doing well. And as we move over to this side, forgive me, you will hear voices in the background. We're having Sunday dinner with all of the family round at Mum's. So I thought I'll sneak outside and look at the garden before we lose all of this. Gorgeous cordlin there in a pot, a tall planter doing beautifully. And Seti Morellii. And you can see again how Mum uses annuals to bring some interest to her planters. That's an interesting one. It's a euphorbia, all on the same plant. Two different types of foliage coming off that. Not sure of the name of it, but I'll try and find it out for you. Another Chirops in a planter. Some yellowing going on there. I wonder whether it might be time for that to be repotted. Variety of annuals. Oh, look at her Paulownia tomentosa there. The leaves are huge. Looks like the top ones, the newest growth, has been affected by that recent frost that we've just had. But for anyone growing one of those, you know that even if you cut this right down, it will come back again next year. The leaves will be bigger and probably better. They'll stay large like this if you coppice the plant down, as opposed to leaving it to grow and grow. What else have we got here? Some hydrangea, Formium, Musa basdew. Soon time to say goodnight to these ginormous leaves. Schefflera taiwaniana, doing really well. love those red stems, look how bright they are. And this plant gets a lot more sun than mine does, but the conditions are good for it. Dicksonia antarctica. Now it's interesting to see this because me and Mum bought our tree ferns at the same time, same size and everything, grown in the same conditions, and we've put them into our gardens and they look so different. So as I said before, my mum's garden gets lots and lots of sun. It's just baking it in sun for the majority of the day, and you can see, well, you probably can't tell, but the leaves on her Dicksonia are a lot smaller than the leaves on mine. I mean, the tree's fine. It's, you know, it's not damaged or anything. It's just different. There's something to be said about the conditions in which you plant these plants. Mum's garden is very different to mine in terms of what thrives here and what doesn't. Various evergreen shrubs. Beautiful canna there, looks like a Tropicana. And we have Japa orange flower, Persicaria. As you can see in Mum's garden, she puts a lot of things in pots and integrates them into her borders. A great tactic, easy to then move those pots out and overwinter the plants, get them out of the elements. Yucca gloriosa, another Fatsia, again smaller leaves due to it growing in full sun. I think that's the most glorious of my mum's palms. Another Kemerop, she seems to like that one. At the back there we can see a tiny roost tree that is now turning oranges and yellows as autumn approaches. Formium, another Fatsia spider's web. Some bamboo at the back there, Fargesia I think it is. Another Fatsia, as you can see they're repeated throughout the garden. Some pink china here in these pots, which are yellowing somewhat now as we're near the end of the season. And then a wall of bamboo at the back, some different types in here. Got some arrow bamboo in there, some Philostachys. Looks like a B&M Spesh. Yeah, just says Philostachys. I'm sure there's more to the name, but those are in containers there at the back. I think Mum had planned to do a whole wall of bamboo across here, and it just hasn't happened as yet. But she's already bored of the idea, so that may well change. But yeah, that is my mum's tropical garden. I thought it might be a treat for you to see that the tropical gardening bug has spread across my family. She's doing a great job with this. I get a lot of inspiration from this garden, and Mum gets inspiration from mine. We share ideas, we let each other know when we see plant deals. But yeah, this is one of my favourite gardens, and I thought I'd share it with you all.